Update Reddit. Teachers, counselors of Reddit, what's the worst case of helicopter parenting you've ever encountered? I once worked as an instructor for blind, visually impaired kids. A lot of parents of disabled kids coddle them too much, but one took the cake. She carried around her child so much that the little girl's legs were useless, completely atrophied at 14 years old. There was nothing wrong with anything but that kid's eyes. Okay, I think this takes the cake. The parent was so overprotective that they permanently disabled their child. In Sweden we call those kind of parents curling parents, because they sweep the ground before their kids. I've had parents who wanted to come to school and attend all of the classes with their kid. I'm neither of those things, but last year I was waiting in line at the airport, and behind me was a mother and teenage son, and she was describing the college essays she'd written for him because he'd been too busy for them, going to a sporting event over the weekend. Yeah, I included all your extracurriculars in there. I think it was fair to say you are involved in music, I mean, you do like music. No, don't worry, I made it sound like you wrote it. One of the guys I went to high school with got his mom to apply to school for him. He then failed out the next year because WoW became more important. When I was a student I would hear of parents accompanying their adult children to job interviews. No one will hire anyone who brings mommy or daddy with them. No one. Not a teacher, but I'm a nanny. I briefly worked for one mom who still wiped her 8-year-old son's after he took AS. That poor kid would just sit on the toilet waiting for mom to come clean his poop hole. I didn't stick around that family for very long. I used to teach at a private primary school in China, basically for rich kids. Many of the children have no brothers or sisters and suffer from little emperor syndrome. One little girl was very bossy. At home, she had servants, and was used to ordering others around, even adults. To give you some perspective, I've seen kindy kids hit and kick their minders while the minders grin frighteningly. If that kid complains to mommy they are out of a job, so at school she tried to give orders to the other little girls and boys. As you can imagine, this did not go down very well with the other kids, especially as they themselves were all quite well off. So her entire class refused to play or talk with her. This caused the little girl to cry and complain to mommy. Her mommy marched into our office and in front of our principal threatened to have the other children killed unless they started playing with her daughter. The principal was shocked, he was the one who informed me. Another mother asked me how dare I give her son 63% on an exam. As I was still new to China at the time, I just looked at her puzzledly as I couldn't understand how daring came into it. I thought you just gave people what they got. What happened with that woman who threatened to have the class killed? Seems that wouldn't go over too well. Reading all of these makes me think of a good parenting tip. Have your kids make calls to places. Reservations, ordering pizza, anything where they talk to someone to get something done. It's amazing how some kids grow up to be adults who never learned how to get things done by themselves. I've taught middle school through college. I had one parent of a high school student who said she could not come to a particular meeting time, because she'd be in class. Oh, what degree are you studying for? None, I take the same classes as her other child, so I can make sure she works hard. Apparently she was registering as a student in all of her child's classes, going to the classes, all to make sure her child did her college work. I didn't say anything, but I would not have wanted to be that professor, or the kid. Had a kid's parents try to go to their college orientation for them. During transfer orientation, there was a girl in my section that her mother followed her everywhere. Even student-only events. Waiting for posts about my parents who insist on being present for every phone call I make to a department at my college. When are we going to call study abroad? No. Go get a hobby and let me be an adult. My parents are exactly the same. When are we going to call about applying to medical school? Never. I'll do it on Monday though. Small story about me. I was in 8th grade and my teacher was always in it to me. He would send me out of class because I was 3 minutes late, or not accept my math homework because I didn't work out the problems the way he wanted me to. So near the end of the year he assigned an essay to us. The subject was on any president of our choosing. I wrote my essay in about 3 hours and followed the rubric very closely. I print out my paper, and leave it on my desk so I won't forget it. Before I go to sleep, my mom asked me if she could borrow the laptop. So I set up the laptop for her and go to sleep. Next day, turn in the essay. Next week, get back the essay with a D on it. I notice a bunch of red marks on it. Read through essay and found out my mom went and wrote more to it, and switched out my essay. Explained to the teacher what happened, and by the grace of God he let me turn in mine. Come back next day with my essay. Get B+ on it. She never tried again. Wow. I'm speechless. Had this happened before? Surely it couldn't have come out of the blue like that. I don't have insane stories, thankfully, but I hear this all of the time. My son, daughter knows they don't have to lie to me, as a reason parents support their child. Because a teacher with 2 degrees and almost a decade of experience is going to make up a lie, and a teenager will always tell the truth. Shitbags. Okay, I have 2. 1. The woman who had my job before me had a helicopter mom. She was 26, working there for 2 years, and I suppose she was having a stressful time. Her mother must have thought it was the administration's fault, so her mom called the principal. She yelled at him for a good 20 minutes straight about how her daughter is perfect and he had to treat her like a princess. Hence, why the position was open at the end of the year, and then I got it. My mom's nuts, but not a helicopter parent. 2. I had these twin Indian girls who were both violinists. They were good but very timid players. They often lost points on playing tests for projection ask bow usage. They went to our state solo festival and did pretty well. I nominated them for our all-county festival. Although the girls had the same score, the way the computer works is you have to rank them. I put the stronger girl first. Well, only that girl got into the all-county group. The mother then called me and bitched me out for a good 20 minutes. Not happy with my answer, she then proceeded to call every other music teacher and administrator in my district. Once a teacher nominates the students, we have no say in who gets chosen. This is the answer she received from everyone. She even went as far as my superintendent and the person in charge of the all-county festival. She received the same answer everywhere. She also proceeded to hate me for the next 5 years her girls were in the district. She also hated the high school teacher because her girls weren't first seat. Those poor girls. Worked at a sleep-away camp. Asian mother told us to weigh both of her children and mail her the results twice daily. That's oddly specific. I teach in a pretty low-income area, lots of drugs and violence. I would love to have a helicopter parent. My kids' parents don't give AF sad face. Reading these, my parents have never seemed cooler. Good on you, mom and dad. For being rational F people. You have been visited by the Good Sleep Hamster. Subscribe within the next 8 seconds and you will be blessed with cozy and also restful sleeps.